Hello and welcome back to Through Imperial Eyes. On this edition, I am your host, Braydon Leadbetter.
And I'm your co-host, Jackson Daleen.
I feel like every single time, like as we progress with each episode, I slur my name more and more. So like by episode 150, it's gonna be I'm your host, blah blah.
Yeah, right. But anyway, it's our Star Wars names. That's what's happening. Is we're building our Star Wars.
I'm not taking tequila shots before we go on air.
It's not Imperial Cantina yet.
Yeah, it's not Imperial Cantina yet. We'll bring that back sooner or later. But anyway, Jackson, what have you been up to? What's going on? Any exciting news or experiences or adventures?
So I have built my office area. I'm now using not the full setup yet because my computer's still broke.
It's still your home decor.
It's still my little man corner. No, it's fun. I'm excited. I hung up all the little Star Wars toys that I got from my parents' house in a little shadow box shelf, and that's been it for the most part. I'm trying to think Star Wars stuff that I've gotten. I've talked about the Black Series stuff that I found. You know what? Today I was working at Goodwill and I was being trained in sortings, and I was going through like the tubs of stuff, and I found a original vintage like build your own C-3PO model, and. Ooh. Yeah, like, and it was cool because it was like Ralph McQuarrie concept 3PO. Like he had like, it was like the weird different head, and I was like,
the Metropolis body. And,
yeah, pretty much. And it was like a plastic figure of him. When I opened it, it was in pieces, but like he was broken. I actually ended up tossing him. I didn't even let Goodwill have it. I was like, it was kind of just trash, but it was disappointing. Yeah. Like I was going through it, and like his head was together, but like the eyes that were popped out, and you could like shake it and hear him inside, and just pieces were broken and chipped, but like it even had the glue that it came with, and I was just like, that's different. That's, I have never seen something like that,
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
What about you? What's going on with you and everything?
Well, I've been doing a lot of, so I don't know if our listeners know, but I'm in prep for 2 short films that I'm directing right now. But this weekend, so it's not really this weekend, it was the beginning of, it was yesterday actually. I was at a thrift store called Savers. You've probably been there, right?
I have not.
Okay, there's a thrift store called Savers in Crestwood, and I was there with one of my with my cinematographer. We were kind of walking around for trying to find things for production design, just to put in one of the houses we're shooting in, and we're walking around, and I come across something really cool. I don't know how old these are, all right? They're these Phantom Menace travel mugs. So this is a Darth Maul one. I'm showing it for those listeners. I'm showing Jackson my Darth Maul. It's like a thermos travel mug thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, and there's that, and I also have a Qui-Gon one.
Oh, that's cool, actually.
And like on each one, it has like a little character description, which is why I'm guessing that this was probably like Phantom Menace promo, because it like tells you like an accomplished Jedi Master, Qui-Gon Jinn is also somewhat of a maverick, noble, patient, and wise. He's closely attuned to the living force, blah blah blah. So like
that's the thing with Phantom Menace merch too, is you gotta wonder, is it OG or is it 2012 re-release? Because
either way, I think it's cool.
I have an enamel pin. Yes, I agree, it's cool. I have an enamel pin that's for the re-release, but it's this cool little.
I wish I would have seen it. I wish I would have seen the re-release, because the 3D glasses were like the pod racer goggles.
Yeah, I remember that was the whole. Oh, that's fun. That's cool. I didn't know that. I found Phantom Menace and the Attack of the Clones novelizations at a thrift store the other day, and I wanted to ask you: do you know if those are like good or not? Like, is that an investment to like try to get those and read those?
I highly recommend reading just the novelizations in general, just because I think I read the Phantom Menace one probably when I was like in like 6th grade or something. But
the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I bet you they would be kind of fun.
They're always fun because you always get little tidbits that were in like the original script but didn't make it to the screen, because they start work on the novels like they basically get handed the shooting script and then they're like, all right, there you go write the novel version of this.
That's cool.
And you even hear like Matthew Stover, I think he had an interview. I sent you, I don't know if you watched it, probably not. He had an interview. He wrote not Phantom Menace. He wrote the Revenge of the Sith novelization, and he had an interview with Star Wars Theory. And he was talking about how whenever he was writing Revenge of the Sith, he was really only given the script, and he didn't, like, this was again before they even started production on the film. So that's why in the novelization there's some moments where you're like some things weren't completely visualized in the script. So that's why like the Mustafar scene in the Revenge of the Sith novel kind of goes a little different than you'd expect in the movie and that kind of thing. So I think that is what you'd get out of reading the novelizations for Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. You get these little things
details,
and I think, I think I remember enjoying the Phantom Menace one. I don't know who wrote the Attack of the Clones one.
I may go see if they're still there and might pick them up and give them a read. Yeah. They were cool. They were hardbacks too. They were neat.
Yeah, just to have them too. The Revenge of the Sith novel that I have, I found at the Goodwill where you work. So
that's funny. I bought the Revenge of the Sith game from that Goodwill.
Well, there you go. That's just a very Revenge of the Sith Goodwill.
It's the Revenge of the Sith hub.
It's the Revenge of the Goodwill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Let's move on to these news stories we have this week.
Excuse me. Yeah, let's start.
How dare you?
So starting off, J.J. Abrams responds to whether the Star Wars sequels should have been mapped out or not. In a recent event celebrating Super 8's 10th anniversary, which that's a great movie, director J.J. Abrams was asked directly by Collider's Adam Chitwood if he thought the Star Wars sequel trilogy should have had a plan from the beginning. Quote from Abrams, "You just never really know, but having a plan, I have learned, in some cases the hard way, is the most critical thing, because otherwise you don't know what you're setting up. You don't know what to emphasize, because if you don't know the inevitable of the story, you're just as good as your last sequel or effect or joke or whatever. But you want to be leading up to something inevitable." Continuing on, sometimes when it's not working out, it's because it's what you planned. And other times when it's not working out, it's because you didn't, quote, have a plan.
Right.
End quote. I think this was kind of the overall lesson everybody kind of understood from the sequel trilogies, was to have it planned more. But even then, you look at like the OG trilogy and like none of that was planned.
Yeah.
I think the difference, and I saw a tweet kind of talking about this when this was all trending, was someone kind of stated how no one really talks about Lucas not having a plan because Lucas wasn't afraid to like take jumps. Lucas wasn't afraid to take leaps. And the first couple, I would say Force Awakens kind of like, it starts out, it plays a little safe to home as like,
I think it had to though.
It definitely had to. And like, I agree. That's kind of I think it's funny that Abrams like, we should have had a plan, but it's like, no, like that's not Star Wars, like.
Yeah. But whenever Force Awakens was coming out, we were not in a prequel renaissance yet.
No. And
a lot of people still had super bad taste in their mouth from the prequels by the time Force Awakens was coming out. And I remember so many people coming in and be like, oh, it better not be like the prequels. It better not be another Phantom Menace. And I think that's why they had to play it so safe with, it always gets criticized for being this rehash of A New Hope. I think that I don't think it rehashes A New Hope, but I think it more honors and respects what A New Hope did, and kind of takes the same story beats, makes it familiar, keeps it familiar, but also bringing like new things like Rey and all that kind of thing.
I think too is that like, I think it's so funny that they still didn't have a plan after wanting to be so delicate with the fans.
Yeah,
is that they thought taking it movie by movie was going to be the direction. And in a sense, I guess it was. Like, that's exactly what like everybody did, but
I think that it kind of stems from, again, them being so worried that if they do mess up, it's going to ruin everything and it's going to be, another prequel situation.
Right.
But I think, I think they were in good hands. and then just things kept happening, and we had, you know, like the Colin Trevaro drama and
Yeah.
The Last Jedi drama, which, you know, I still think it's a 3.5-year-old movie. Y'all got to get over The Last Jedi one of these days.
You got to get over that. Like, it's not as bad as you like claim it to be. Like, even if it isn't
it's
perfect,
also like,
it's not this horrible movie.
Why put all of your energy into hating it of a 3.5-year-old movie? Like, why are we still talking about? I don't. It's not.
There's
something,
people
it's not
still
something
talking
that I
about
understand.
Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Like, that's, and those are 20.
It's not going to stop.
No.
But kind of getting back on track, I think when it comes to there being a plan, I think there was a very, very rough roadmap. Meaning, not story-wise, but meaning, okay, we want JJ because we know he's going to be able to bring us back into it. We want Ryan because we know he's going to take some chances, and we know that the middle of the story is going to be probably a little darker, kind of like how trilogies go. And to close it out, we got Colin Trevaro. We know that he can, you know, take the helm for an existing franchise. We got Jurassic World. And then again, we had his movie Book of Henry was doing pretty not great critically, and I think box office wise it didn't make anything. And I think that kind of scared them. And then there was also these creative differences we don't really know the actual details of. But then that kind of got everything off track, and everything kind of kapoof.
I don't think they should have brought back JJ for the reason of it felt weird Star Wars wise. Like,
I don't know.
It like
I'm having trouble thinking of who better than JJ, like especially so short notice.
I agree
They hired him like a few months before they were due to start production. And like the decision obviously makes sense, and it was like, okay, like obviously out of the two that we've done, JJ has produced and had a more well received movie than the other. Bring him. That makes sense. They announced him before The Last Jedi even came out.
For directing.
Oh, yeah. They announced JJ like in October 2017. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize
like September
that Last Jedi
or October 2017. I think what it is they needed somebody who they could bring on who would get on track quickly. He already has experience doing a Star Wars movie.
That they can just jump him right in.
He's plug and play. You send him in there with, I think it was it Michael Arndt? No. Chris Terrio. Him and Chris Terrio wrote The Rise of Skywalker. But you put him in there with him and Chris Terrio. They bang out a few drafts of a script. And, because, I mean, they had 2 years total to write, produce, post-production, and everything like that. When I think with The Force Awakens, they had 3 years. So they, it was a rush to get The Rise of Skywalker going. So... But yeah, I just think that had it been a perfect world and had there been a set out roadmap and kind of here's what's going to happen, here's what story beats we need to hit throughout the trilogy, I think there would have been a lot better reception. I don't know if I think I wish we got something like that, because I do like what we got very much anyway.
Why do you think that they wrote a new script? Why not use Trevaro's
Well, I think because
script
that was what was the reason they fired Trevaro, because they
didn't like the script. I thought it was just because Book of Henry didn't do well. Oh, I thought it was just because
it was also creatively. Yeah, I think he wanted to do some things in Duel of the Fates that they didn't necessarily want to do, and I think Trevaro was. I think this is not factual based. This is just me speculating. I think that he might have been stubborn and wanting to do what he wants to do, because when you're a filmmaker, when you want to do something and it really means something to you, you want to do it. And if someone tells you can't do it, well, I'm not going to do it then.
It's Edgar Wright Ant-Man debacle.
Yeah, exactly. Edgar Wright wanted to make his movie. Marvel wanted to make a different movie, and they just went their separate ways. I think that's exactly what happened with Colin Trevaro.
Give me the Wright and the Trevaro cut. I want both of them, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. Let's kind of move on here. So it looks like Zack Snyder did actually pitch a Star Wars movie to Lucasfilm before The Force Awakens ever even started development. So it looks like he's actually the one that he pitched to Lucasfilm is getting developed in a non-Star Wars fashion. So he's confirmed that there's been all these rumors that he had a Star Wars project inspired by Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, and he's now working on that concept as an unaffiliated story, although the project has not been given a green light from a studio. He was speaking on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, and he discussed his planned idea for a Star Wars movie involving a group of Jedi long before the events of the Clone Wars. His quote is, "We talked about it, but it never happened. I've been working on it away from the Star Wars universe on my own. It's a sci-fi thing. It's still a sci-fi thing. It's the same story, and now I'm just going to let Star Wars be Star Wars." So I think essentially he had this idea for basically couldn't happen now because the High Republic's a thing.
Right.
But he probably had this idea of kind of the Jedi Order before the Jedi Order. Yeah. And pitched it, and Lucasfilm probably kind of sat on it. It was like, okay, maybe down the line we're trying to like reintroduce people to the franchise. And then they just kind of passed on it, but Zack Snyder loved the story so much he kept it. And
you could still probably do it, like just make it before the High Republic, you know.
Yeah, but I think he at this point he's developing his own sci-fi universe,
he's just turning into his own thing, and that's cool. Which is cool. Yeah, he's still going to be doing it, and like we'll be able to see. And I wonder if it'll be funny if like it comes out and it does so well that they do give him a Star Wars movie.
Well, that's something I was going to ask you. Is do you think that there will be a time where we see Zack Snyder helming a Star Wars movie?
I don't know. I didn't see his recent one the Army of Dead. I didn't see that.
I didn't watch it. No, not yet.
But yeah, I don't know, because if you would assume it to be a movie. It's a Zack Snyder movie. You expect it to be this, rough color palette and this big action movie. So I'm like,
and all slow-mo.
Yeah, right. I'm like, is that something that Star Wars wants to kind of head towards? I wouldn't mind, like, if he helped out in, I don't know, some kind of show or something, if he wanted to direct an episode of Mando, or even
cool.
even like the Ahsoka show, if he's wanting to play with Jedi. Give him something like that, and I bet you that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm trying to think. It would be cool to see how he would handle directing not just an episode of a show, but kind of in a Dave Filoni thing where he's not hands-on directing, but he's just executive producer. Because he's a great creative mind. I think sometimes he misses the mark on directing. That's just I think he's a great director. I just think there's things that he sometimes goes style over substance. Which to each their own. But I think as a creative, he's a very very intelligent and is good at telling stories. And I wonder how he would do, executive producing a series or a movie or something.
I agree. And
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to see him attached to a Star Wars project in the future.
It's a cool idea, though, the whole samurai thing. Like, I just picture like Samurai Jack, like the lone warrior, outside of this, ancient village somewhere, and he's just got this lightsaber and the wind's blowing. Yeah. Like, that's a cool idea, like a Kurosawa, like old, like feudal Star Wars, that's an area that I wouldn't be opposed to exploring.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, cool. Up next, Star Wars The High Republic Trail of Shadows comic book announced with Daniel Jose Older writing. Announced on the High Republic show and StarWars.com, the Marvel series will be titled Star Wars The High Republic Trail of Shadows. Older describes it on Twitter as a Star Wars noir detective series. Quote, following the shocking events of the Republic Fair, the Jedi call upon one of their own, Emmerich Kafter, to investigate a strange mystery with ties to the Jedi Order. At the same time, Chancellor Lina So calls upon the Cyan Holt, a high-end, in-demand private detective, to look into the same mystery, but will either solve the riddle before anyone else dies, end quote. The Republic Fair is an event used to try to unify planets in the galaxy and will be one of the focal points of most of the High Republic works coming out. It's supposed to be happening in this next book, the whole fair and apparently this debacle that will happen at it. This is a really cool
idea. They're
idea.
really hyping up this Republic Fair.
They are, and I've been keeping up with the comics too, and even then they talk about it too. The Republic Fair is coming. We have to get this ready for the fair. Obviously, we knew that something was going to happen at the fair. I like that they're not really hiding it anymore. Like everybody knows.
Yeah.
But this sounds really awesome. I'm really excited to try and check this out. I love the High Republic comics. Actually, they've become my favorite form of High Republic media right now.
Really?
I a little bit prefer them to the novels.
I'm going to have to just watch them on that channel.
Both sides are just so fun, and like they deal with issues that like are faithful and kind of fit with the overall theme of the High Republic, and like you really connect with some characters a little more. And it's nice because there are characters like Avar Kriss is in the comics a lot. Like I have gotten to know Avar Kriss a lot more than just what we saw in Light of the Jedi, and the one line with Skier and his Padawan. Well, she's a knight now, but it really that follows the main kind of High Republic like focal points, whereas the other is more tales and stories. Even though it follows Yoda's class, but it's cool seeing those do a really good job at showing like the growth of the Republic and kind of the culture of the Republic right now, rather than the other is more Jedi adventures and the things that they're doing, and you see more kind of because that the High Republic Adventures starts with it's like a really late great disaster burst, and it's attacking this system, and then obviously the Nile swoop in and start invading it. So it breaks into that, and you meet it goes to the point of view of people living there. It's a really fun story, actually. I cannot recommend them more enough.
I'm gonna have to now.
Yeah, no, they really you can burn right through them too, and there's only a few. I don't think Star Wars Comics has updated much of them. He's doing a lot of the War of the Bounty Hunters, which, fun enough, War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha 1 came out today.
Oh, we'll have to read and review that one. Yeah, but kind of going back, this whole Star Wars detective noir series, that just sounds awesome.
I dig it. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Give me all of that.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
I'd like to see in the era of the High Republic what kind of the gritty underground.
I want it to be like Blade Runner. I want it to be just cool. just so Artur and just so full of itself. But it's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for the High Republic to get in full swing with all these different stories.
They're getting the bat ready. They're gonna hit it so hard, and that home run's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna be the summer of the High Republic for sure. Well, cool. Let's move it right along here. So it looks like John Boyega is open to return to Star Wars. According to a resurfaced interview from last year. Recently, a clip of John Boyega, who was interviewed by Jake Hamilton from May 2020, has resurfaced, with the actor saying he's willing to discuss the possibility of returning to the galaxy far, far away after a prominent role in the sequel trilogy. He says, "I'm open to having a conversation as long as Kathleen, JJ, and maybe someone else in the team. It's a no-brainer." So, I think he's saying what a lot of people don't think he's saying, because I know so many people look at John Boyega and what he's said just in the past, publicly, and immediately go, "Oh my God, yes, John Boyega hates Star Wars. He hates the sequel trilogy. He hates Kathleen Kennedy." And and we even see here he said, "No, I'm not doing it unless Kathleen Kennedy and JJ are involved in some way. Yeah, because JJ's the one who JJ's the reason John Boyega is as big as he is right now. And it looks like. Oh, go for it. Go for it.
Boyega, I think the thing is, you're definitely right, is that a lot of people have misconstrued what Boyega has been fighting for, which is not that the producer and director ruined this movie because of his race and all that. It was that society, like, and culture and media, like, kind of forced these things to happen when everybody else wanted this potential of what could have been what they were kind of hinting and setting up. And then it was like, no, like, that's not how society works, so they can't do that. That's what John Boyega is fighting for, especially within Star Wars and just in media and Disney and all that. And everyone took that as it's sequel hate. Get rid of the sequels. No.
We live in a society.
We do live in a society, and I'm glad that Boyega has like cleared this up and like confirmed that. Like,
I mean, even though it's a year old, but I think it just recently resurfaced. Yeah.
Well, and like he pops up in trending on Twitter a lot of that discussion of like the potential of getting, Jedi Finn and like having that be actual canon and in the movies and stuff.
He has since said that he'd be open to starring in some kind of Disney Plus series, I guess depending on what it is, what
I wouldn't mind
what his character's going to be like.
Yeah, like some even if it was like a cute little mini series all about like Rey's. I picture it like a kids animated series all about like Rey's school, and it's the only thing that we have post Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I would love a future where Rey does kind of have this like Jedi apprenticeship, and Finn's kind of there helping him.
Well, in the Lego Star Wars holiday special that came out last year, she's training him. She's training Finn in it. Like, so, and I
don't think it's technically canon.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it is canon, but yeah.
I think it confirms our theories that that's probably what happened after Episode 9 is
that like, yeah,
him and Rey kind of got together and she's low-key training him.
Even as a comic, like a comic or a book, that would be fun to know. That would be interesting.
Yeah. I think at this point, though, unfortunately, a lot of the fandom are kind of done with sequel era for now.
Yeah, they're really fine printing the like Age of Empire right now. A lot of the comics right now that isn't High Republic is very much in between the original trilogy. Everything's following the War of Bounty Hunters right now, which, is right after Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. And, everyone at this point is on a big Clone Wars Bad Batch kick and, all that kind of thing. But would you want to see like a Finn series or something on Disney Plus?
Like a John Boyega show, like it's his show.
Like he's the main character.
Wouldn't be opposed to it. I would honestly prefer a show about the crew in between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, yeah.
That's kind of about like their adventures and the Resistance and like, because I think that's a thing in Rise of Skywalker that lacks, is that we see how they are now and that they have bonded and like have gone on a ton of adventures together doing stuff, and that they're kind of at this like weird tension point that they're all like they're tired from the war. I want to see
that develop. Yeah,
I wanted to see that development. I wanted to see that growth, because it was like Poe and Rey meet at the end of Last Jedi, and by the next movie they practically hate each other. Like what led to that,
Actually, Jackson, technically in the Force Awakens novelization, Poe and Rey do meet in Force Awakens, just to let you know.
I'm just saying, in like the last shot of Last Jedi, he definitely goes, "I'm Poe," and she goes, "I'm Rey," and they're like, "Cool, welcome to the ship."
Rian Johnson obviously didn't read the Force Awakens novelization.
He's not a real Star Wars fan.
But
I love when people would give Rian Johnson crap on Twitter, and they were like, "You don't know anything about the Force," and all he did was post a video of him in his home walking to his personal library to then pulling out the ancient Jedi text of his person, opening it up and putting at like a finger on Force projection and being like, "I do know what I'm talking about."
if anybody knows about the Force more, it's Rian Johnson and the directors of Star Wars movies, because you have to understand at Lucasfilm Ranch, they like have a straight up vault with things, and it literally tells you every single last little thing you need to know about the Force.
I just picture like at every production and like I just picture people like in a meeting like talking about stuff, planning it, and all of a sudden they're like, can we do that? And be like, let's go ask. And they just open a door to like an empty conference room, and it's just George Lucas sitting there, and they're like, hey George, take concept. If Luke Skywalker meditated hard enough, can he project himself on a completely different planet somewhere randomly in the galaxy? And Lucas is like, yeah, fuck, why not? He's like, yeah, sure, why not? It's like, I don't care.
No, but the thing is about that is Force projection was mentioned in... Oh, I forgot what it was. It was mentioned in I think it was a novel or something beforehand, and that's what Rian Johnson got it from. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's literally what you just mentioned is literally what the Lucasfilm Story Group is for.
Right.
Is for when they're conceptualizing things and they're not really
like,
sure. They go to the story group and be like, hey, is this canon? Can we do this? Does this line up? And the story group kind of...
It's just George Lucas like eating food. George, can we do this? Yeah, sure. You're like, why not? He's like, I don't care.
Drink my Diet Coke in peace. Yeah.
They just keep him in some room just so they can ask him questions. That's funny.
Yeah. Well,
right.
What's next?
So our final news piece today is Rogue Squadron Patty Jenkins enlists Wonder Woman production designer. Star Wars Rogue Squadron is one step closer to taking flight. That's fun. I like that. Yeah, I like how you did that in the rundown. As a new report indicates that director Patty Jenkins is set to reunite with Aline Bonetto, her production designer for Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984. Bonetto's credits also include A Very Long Engagement and Pan. Pan was a wild movie. That's... Oh, Anomaly. I missed that one. I did miss that one. Anomaly.
Yeah, you did.
Aline Bonetto is set to be the first production designer for the Star Wars after the completion of the Skywalker saga. For the Star Wars. What kind of tone/look is this film going to have? From Wonder Woman 1, I'm getting the World War, vintage, retro, gritty, war, Saving Private Ryan drama vibe. But from Wonder Woman 1984, I'm getting a lot of mixed feelings on how I feel about the production.
I would love this movie to be like this very vintage feeling war film with dogfights, and
it's going to be like Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, just I want that. I don't know. Again, we literally only know the title and what the film kind of is.
Now, yeah,
that's
these
about
two
it.
People, yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's kind of a given that she's bringing on a lot of the crew that she's worked with before.
People that she knew, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's nice that we're finally getting news stories about this movie, because I think they're probably due to start production next year. I'm sure they're in pre-production / development right now.
Probably, getting all that ready. Who do you think she's gonna have shoot it?
I don't know.
Who shot the Wonder Woman movies?
I don't know. I'm not really huge on DP knowledge. I only know like the main players for cinematographers.
Matthew,
but I'm sure
Jensen
she'll bring on. She'll bring on people she's
Ooh,
worked with. Yeah.
So the Wonder Woman cinematographer is known for, he did some Game of Thrones. He did Chronicle. He has done work on The Mandalorian. Let me look at all of his stuff. What episode did he direct? Did he do? Wow, he shot 3 episodes in season 2, and that's The Harris, The Siege, and The Believer.
Okay.
He shot Fantastic. And he shot 4 episodes of Game of Thrones. And
because I think he is also Josh Trank's cinematographer.
That makes sense.
Because Josh Trank directed Fantastic, he directed Chronicle.
Yeah. He wouldn't be a bad pick, honestly.
No.
that Mandalorian credit's probably what's going to give him the job. I honestly, I'll call that I bet you they're gonna get him to be Rogue One or Rogue Squadron.
There's gonna be so many people mixing up Rogue Squadron with Rogue One.
Oh, for sure.
So many people.
Well, people are gonna be like, "Is it a sequel? Is it another Rogue One movie? Is this Rogue 2?"
That would have been a cool name for a Rogue One sequel, though. Was Rogue Squadron?
Honestly, yeah, it would have been.
Instead of Rogue 2.
It'll be fun. I'm very excited for that.
I wonder who's going to do the music, is what I want to know.
Hans Zimmer did the Wonder Woman movies.
It's not going to be John Williams.
No, it won't be Williams.
I don't think Hans Zimmer really has a place in Star Wars, though.
I was going to say, has he even done a Star Wars?
No. He hasn't done anything Star Wars related. His style is very harsh.
It's so different now. Yeah, I agree.
I think it again fits more with something like a Nolan, those kind of films than a Star Wars film. I definitely agree. He doesn't have the John Williams touch,
flair. Yeah, the magic.
Yeah. That's the perfect word to describe Star Wars music.
I want Rogue Squadron to have a very real sense of music to it. I want it to be very it's Star Wars lived in music and not just Star Wars music, I don't want it to be...
I think I know what you mean.
I want it to be in-world music. I want it to be what are the people listening to?
Like that.
Yeah. I want it to be it's almost like it's a soundtrack, but it's their universe. It's Star Wars music.
That's interesting.
That's what one of the characters in Alphabet Squadron does.
Yeah,
she
they just
plays
listen to
music.
Jabba Flow all day.
Yeah, pretty much. I want that. I want more of that.
Good job,
Sit there chilling in the room.
Let's play some Max Rebo. Yeah.
You guys agree with Max Rebo? No? I'm about to ruin your day.
Well, cool. I think we've just about covered the however many, was it 5 news stories this week? 4 news stories this week. It's been a very slow couple of weeks. There was a couple Andor behind the scenes things, but it's kind of all the same thing. We just know they're shooting something somewhere. That's about all it's been recently. So, well, thank you guys so much for listening. If you would like to find us on these social media platforms, we are on Instagram. We are through Imperialized Pod. If you want to find us on the Twits, you can find us at Imperialized Pod. And for the YouTube machine place that you go to watch the vids, search up through Imperialized Podcast. Jackson, where can they find you?
You can find me sitting at my new fun office desk. I'll be playing games on my PlayStation because my computer's still broken.
I'll be playing Minesweeper, boy.
Okay, but I've been playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 with the new monitor, which I got a nice HDR 144 hertz.
This is a really long username. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter, as always, at QuacksonScaling. That's QUACKSON_scaling, like the triangle. And then you can follow my photography Instagram at Deleen_photography, which is DALEEN_photography. Braydon, what about you?
That was a nice touch. Do they have to type the burp in there too?
Yeah, they do. It's period, asterisk, burp, asterisk.
Okay, good. I was just thinking, if you ever get into a spelling bee, and one of the words you get is QuacksonScaling, you're gonna nail it every time.
Oh yeah, for sure. It is imprinted into my brain now. Just to
That's right.
We do this outro and my brain shuts off, and I'm just it's all this right here now.
Yeah, we're 20 plus weeks in, so. Well, if you guys want to find me on the interwebs, you can find me on Instagram at braydonleadbetter and on Twitter at braydathalon. And please do not be shy. Please make sure to hit up our Apple Podcasts, leave that rating, leave that review. Not be shy. And if you don't have the Apple Podcasts and you're a loser with an Android, then you can go hit up our Spotify.
Okay, well, hold on.
Don't make
I have
that
an
face
Apple
at me.
And a Spotify. I love Spotify.
I do too. They don't have music on Apple Podcasts.
Oh my god!
I don't use Apple Music. Apple Music is trash. Anyway, if you don't have Apple Podcasts, you can hit us up on Spotify. Follow us there. If you don't have Spotify, we're on Overcast. We're on literally probably I think we're on We're on Dreamcast. We're on Xbox. We're on PS2. Just hit us up on there. We're on Sega. I think we're on the Mac, the original Apple One. I believe we have a playlist on there. But and if you guys are interested, tomorrow we'll be releasing another episode of The Batch Report, talking about the next episode of The Bad Batch. You can catch us back here for that. And if Jackson does not have anything else to say and talk into the microphone, he's yawning right now.
I don't have anything.
As I said yawn, I guarantee you everybody listening to this just started yawning.
You just made me yawn again.
Yeah, I'm about to yawn. Everybody yawn. 3, 2, 1. Everybody listening yawn. Oh, good yawn. Okay. Well, thank you guys for listening, and until next week, may the Force be with you.